Ladies, allow him to pull away so he actually steps up.
This is important in dating and in marriage. This is exactly what we went through. So we'll dive in and tell you what men are thinking.
You're a shock to their system, right? Like, especially if he's really serious about you.
You have to allow him to self-sabotage. And it could be difficult.
So, ladies, we'll first break it down exactly why men do this, what is going on in their head. We're going to show you exactly what to do, how to respond the feminine energy way. This is exactly what I did, and I teach my girls to do, and it works every time. And for those lovely ladies that are new here, what's up? I'm Natasha.
And I'm Brian.
I was a former single mom with 4 kids, went through a whole bunch of trauma and loss. If you're interested in learning more about dating and relationships and feeling good in your body again, I'm talking your hormones, your nervous system, all that.
Click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our videos and content.
Babe, is it a fear of commitment? Is this what the guys are going through when they start pulling away, especially when things are going great? You know, they're showing interest. They might have been dating for a while, and then the men just starts falling off.
Just starts ghosting and
ghosting, or they're not stepping up for marriage. Like, what's going on with you guys?
I mean, we went through it, like I said earlier, as well as I talked to other guys who are considering commitment, considering getting into relationships or marriage. The main thing that most guys are thinking about is, how does this relationship and this commitment potentially for marriage, how does this affect my day-to-day life? Is this adding to it, or is it taking away? And that's not just financially. We're talking about many different things. We're talking about just a lifestyle, day to day, not like just what I want to do, but things that are important. Is this going to take away from what's important in my life, or is this going to add value? With a woman having kids, how does that affect me day to day, or in this case, most guys, how does that affect them day to day? It's not that they're not willing to help take care of them, but most men are just looking to see how this affects them, because in everything, it's always, men are thinking in a business sense, making a business decision. A relationship, a marriage is a business decision for men, and it's for most women as well. Even though men are in love with you, they want to be with you, they want to spoil you. The way our minds are wired is business wise. Is this a good investment? Is this not a good investment? And if it's not a good investment, or we're on the fence, then men are more hesitant. Then they may start pulling away if they don't have all the details that make them comfortable in the situation. So it's not that they don't like you, don't want to be with you. It's just the way that most men process things that has us taking a step back, then thinking about it before we move forward.
Most healthy masculine energy men are not just going to jump in and want to get married instantly. Like, let me know if I'm off on this from a man's perspective, but most healthy men need time to process this. Like, it's a big decision for them, especially when they take marriage seriously.
Oh, definitely it is. And even in our situation,
Yeah.
being in other countries, the commitments that I had while I was working during that time, the commitments with sports, with the work, that changes because you're not able to be there physically, and you're not able to be around the same type of clients. You know, the clients in Chicago that I had, I can no longer service them in the same capacity being in another country. So what we're thinking is it worth the risk of potentially starting over in certain areas? And it could be in business, it could be starting over just in life in general, starting over in locations. And we have to decide on the business side, is it something that I see going to that level? Or is it just like, I really enjoy being around this person, I'm not ready to take that risk with that person because I'm losing too much. And in those cases, then it might not be the right guy for you because he doesn't see you as that person that he can potentially be with. And he's not willing to step out and risk everything, which lets you know that if you were to move forward with him in a relationship, get married, he may not be willing to do everything to make that marriage work because it's something there that's telling him, I can't go all in.
Yeah, and what I really respected about you before we split ways, because we split ways for a while, is I remember you saying to me, like, you know, your kids have already gone through enough trauma. And, you know, and I could tell you were processing coming to Canada to see if this would work or not. You're looking at a lot of different moving factors, and I did respect that about you. But here's the thing, ladies, on our end is we don't have to wait around for guys. And you might be in love with each other. You might think that each other is great, but the timing is just not right. And so you as a woman, well, we'll tell you girls what you have to do in a second.
Adding another thing, in those situations when men are processing things, that doesn't take months or years. We'll
So
process it quickly, make a decision quickly. That can be a few days, a few weeks, but that's not something we're going to drag out because we're looking at you in a way like this person is valuable to us. We don't want this person to just sit around and, you know, even though you wouldn't have done it, but we don't want this person to sit around and be on pins and needles and waiting on a response. We're going to make a decision quickly and we're going to go with it. But you do have to allow them time to process it. If it's a couple of days, a week, detach. Don't wait on him. When he comes back, a healthy, strong, masculine energy man, he whatever decision he makes, he's going to stick with it and he's going to move forward. And it'll be like nothing was ever an issue because he's thought it through and he's ready to move forward with you.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. It has to be the man's decision, ladies. We cannot twist their arm and drag them to the altar. Because if we try to convince a man to marry us and drag him to the altar, you're going to be doing this. You're going to be in your chasing energy in marriage as well. It is so important for the masculine to have that time and that space to process so he can come to his own conclusions that this is a person that I cannot live without and I'm willing to do anything to be with.
And it's so good that you said that because in most cases, in all cases that I know, men have to feel like they're conquering something in those situations. Even with us, even before I came back and before we started back talking, that was part of my processing time. So when I came back and I came with, okay, I'm ready to do this, even though she had to agree to getting back together, even though she also had to be on board with wanting to try again. I came back with all the answers, so I felt like I actually did something. And she helped in that sense where it wasn't like I was thinking this, I was thinking that. She allowed me to feel like I conquered the situation. And in so many cases, it's important for men to feel like we've conquered something, even in a lot of cases where you know you did most of the work. Just making us feel that way helps so much in the situation. And a lot also has to do with how much healing that man has done. Now, it's not always him going to a counselor, him doing anything in therapy, but it is he's reading books, he's talking to people. That's so important because men can come back in the picture, say all the right things, smile, do everything that makes you feel good. But if they haven't done the healing, the internal work, then they're going to repeat the same process. Make sure his actions match his words and not just what he's saying, because we have so much that's going on. Even for me during that situation, during those 6 months that we didn't talk, it wasn't that I went out and got all this extra therapy. I had done that already. But it was more so of me processing things, talking to people, reading books, just really figuring out what is that next step and how does it look. So when I was in that situation again, I can make correct decisions, have the right conversations, approach things correctly, and also understand where she was coming from, what her thought process was, why she was saying and thinking what she was saying, instead of being so much into my own self that I don't even recognize that she's dealing with things as well. And I have to approach things in a certain way with her.
That was so good, babe. So from the feminine perspective, this is key, ladies. Like, lean in and please listen to me when we're talking about this. Naturally, what happens when the man starts to pull away, especially if a woman hasn't done any inner healing, she gets triggered. And naturally, without realizing it, you get into chasing mode. You're like, let me text him more, let me call him more. You're obsessively thinking about him, even if you're not texting him. You have the obsessive thoughts. You go into performance mode, like, let me just show him how amazing I am. Let me show him some tricks in bed and like all this stuff. And those are all the things that actually repels him. Because as soon as you're in performance mode and in triggered mode, you're in chasing energy. You are now in your masculine energy, and just how energy works, masculine energy is repelled by masculine energy, heterosexual masculine energy, right? So he is going to run away, and it's all going to be subconscious. So instead of giving him that space to process, which is totally normal and healthy for men, because like I teach my girls, you're a pattern interrupt. A lot of men don't have things like the Feminine Energy Academy to help process their emotions and re-regulate their nervous system and do their inner healing. A lot of men are doing this on their own, or they're talking to their guys, right? So you're a shock to their system, right? Like, especially if he's really serious about you, you're a shock to his system. So he needs time to process that. Like Coach B said, the masculine is very analytical. So they're going to be looking at the pros and the cons. Is it worth the risk? They're processing all that. So for us, it's so important that we step back and we give them space. And we don't step back from a place of wall is up, we're mad, we're bitter, we're angry, we're jealous, we're triggered. As soon as you do that and you start showing your crazy side, he is gone. He is gone. I never did that with him at all. No, you still have a smile on your face. Be like, babe, you know what? I think you need time to process. Even when things were going amazing with us, I could tell he was self-sabotaging. Like, I could tell he was not fully stepping up. But instead of me like coming at him and getting mad at him and triggered and angry, had a quick conversation. It was like, we clearly are just in different places, and that's okay. You have space to process, and that's it. And I wasn't like, call me later, I'll call you. No, it was like a total detachment. I'm moving on with my life. I was doing my inner work, my inner healing, which I encourage you ladies to do during that time period. You should always be doing your inner work, inner healing. But you are taking time and you're processing, because the masculine is always going to mirror your energy. And as long as you don't go into chasing mode, needy, triggered mode, and you give him that space, naturally what will happen with the masculine, if he is meant to be with you, is he will come back to you. And ladies, like Coach B said, it does not take a man months and years to figure out if you're the one for him. Men know. They just have to work through their crap too, right? And make that decision and step up or fall away and clear space for the right man to come to the picture. So one of the biggest things that will help you ladies with this, and this works so well with activating their masculine energy, is you rotationally date. You move on. We're never trying to put pressure on a man, ever. You never put a pressure on a man to date or marry you. But there does need to be a sense of urgency, in the sense of, if you don't step up to the plate, another man will. And as soon as they see that, without you forcing it on them, but they can just see that you're moving on and you're happy and you're fine, then they're like, okay, crap, I got to get out of my own way and I need to make this work.
And it's so important, if you're not in a relationship, if you're not dating specifically for marriage, if you're not married to this guy, you have to allow him to self-sabotage. And it could be difficult, because like, he's the one, he checks all the boxes. He just needs to see more clearly. I don't know what he's thinking. So you're trying to force it. But allowing him to self-sabotage allows him to stay in a position where he's making the decision, right? He's the one who's stepping up. He's making the adjustments at the risk of losing you. Because if he doesn't do that and you step up and you just make it happen, then you're going to have to carry the relationship. Then the roles are going to be reversed. But if you're already married, it's important to give him space in those moments. Not that you're allowing him to self-sabotage or anything, because it's different. Give him space to process. If he loses his job, if it's just transition in his life, if some things went on between you all and you had some disagreements, allow him to process it. Then allow him to revisit the conversation, because when we're processing it, especially being married, we get something in us that says, okay, it's time to talk. We don't just step away from it. If we're in our healthy space, it's like, we have to talk about it. I processed it. You know what? You're right. You know what? I can do this differently. but you always have to allow the man to have space to process it.
I'm so glad you said that about marriage too, because this is so true in marriage. I can tell, I mean, we women are so intuitive. We can tell when our guys are going through stuff, right? So when he is processing stuff and I can just tell he doesn't have to say anything, I give him space. Right. And, you know, I'll go and I'll do my own thing. I'll pray for him or whatever. And I'll allow him to come towards me to talk about whatever it is he wants to talk about. But I'm never nagging him and on him to talk about stuff right away, because men need time to process. So it is very healthy for a man to want to even have, you know, his man time to go and process stuff. They actually need that for their hormones as well, to increase your testosterone as well.
That's good. I just learned something.
Yes, yes. Ladies, let us know what you think in the comments. And also, of course, we have our rotational dating for marriage programs, our marriage help programs, and a lot of our inner healing feminine energy programs. If you are struggling in this area and you want help in this area, this is our jam, ladies.
Ask us any questions that you may have, and we'll get back to you.